You are being lied to. And the way you're being lied to is subtle. Otherwise, you wouldn't let it happen. That's typically how deception works. If we were being deceived, we would stop it. But you've been tricked to believe someone has spoken the truth, and you haven't questioned it. How are you being taken advantage of? Through people who manipulate logic. They know something you don't know, or have stumbled upon and reused it because no one has figured out how to stop them. That is, until now. It could be your spouse, your boss, a fellow employee, a friend, a family member. It could be a commercial or a movie, a social media post that has hijacked the truth and led you into a lie. You never know where the deception is going to come from, but I guarantee you, come it will. This video is going to help finish your training on logical fallacies so you can be set free from the lies people are subjecting you to. You'll be able to help set yourself free from the tyranny of others, as well as set others free from deceptive doctrines of devils. My family and I watched Spider-Man Far From Home recently. It's a fun movie with, spoiler alert, a great plot of deception. In the beginning of the movie, the audience discovers there are elemental monsters from another dimension come to destroy the Earth. Quentin Beck, aka Mysterio, shows up from that dimension, having been fighting these monsters for some time. He's got buy-in to stop these things because they destroyed the world he's from and killed his family. Peter is given these glasses from Tony Stark called Edith. This is, of course, after Tony Stark's death in Avengers Endgame. So Edith stands for Even Dead, I'm the Hero. These glasses are Stark's most powerful planetary weapons defense system. And the note that Tony gives to Spider-Man, he tells him that he has been entrusted to find the next Tony Stark.
Stand by for retinol and biometric scan. Retinol and biometric scan accepted.
Hello?
Hello, Peter. I am Edith, Tony Stark's augmented reality security and defense system.
So he made you for me?
No, but you have access to all of Tony's protocols.
Cool.
Would you like to see what I can do? Edith stands for Even Dead, I'm the Hero. Tony loved his acronyms.
Yeah, he did.
I have access to the entire Stark Global Security Network, including multiple defense satellites, as well as backdoors to all major telecommunication networks.
Whoa.
Through a few failures, Spider-Man just wants to be a kid on his class vacation. He's seen how Mysterio handles himself and believes him to be the next Tony Stark. Spider-Man assigns Edith to Mysterio.
Edith?
Hello, Peter.
Hi. Yeah, I'd like to transfer your control over to Quentin Beck.
Peter, what are you doing?
Doing the right thing.
Any transfer will require confirmation.
Stark gave you the glass.
Stark gave me a choice. It's my choice to make, okay? And I'm gonna make it. Look, you're a soldier, a leader. You stopped the elementals. You saved my life. You saved the world, okay? He'd want you to have him.
Waiting for confirmation.
Confirm. Welcome to the Avengers.
And then the deception is revealed for the audience to see.
See, that wasn't so hard. Somebody get this stupid costume off me!
Mysterio has been behind the elemental monsters, except they aren't monsters at all. They're holographic projections being driven by thousands of drones to make the public believe Mysterio is humanity's next hero.
Sorry.
Yeah, can you just fast forward to the end?
Yep, stand by.
Alright, fly, zap, zap, zap. I'm not in love with this choreography, but it'll do.
Kill image. decloak drones.
Mysterio was rejected by Tony with his barf neural memory technology.
Jester King, literally wrapped in wealth and technology that he was unfit to wield. Like the holographic system I designed, a revolutionary breakthrough with limitless applications that Tony turned into a self-therapy machine and renamed
Binarily Augmented Retroframing, or BARF. Oh, $611 million for my little therapeutic experiment.
He renamed my life's work, BARF.
And so Mysterio gathered those who had been rejected by Tony and started this enterprise to dupe the public into believing this threat was the greatest, and he was the solution. Very Syndrome for the Incredibles fans out there.
How do you think I got rich? I invented weapons, and now I have a weapon that only I can defeat. And when I unleash it, I'll get... You sly dog! You got me monologuing! I can't believe it.
I liked that deception in the movie. I thought it was clever and not the next monster alien threat we expected in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The threat was very human, and he desired a simple motivator: power, acclaim, fame. He wanted credit. I bring this movie up to help you understand motivations behind actions, specifically deception. People desire to deceive you because they get something out of it. They get money, power, or a third something you'll have to use your imagination for.
I want a diamond ring, I want some bracelets and everything. Daddy, you bet.
These motivators are present in every crime. These are what the detectives are looking into to determine why the crime was committed. So as you self-assess that someone is manipulating you with logical fallacies, go one step deeper to determine what they are motivated by. Are they trying to control you, your thoughts, your actions? Are they putting you between a rock and a hard place to get money out of you? Are they speaking the truth? Are they speaking half-truths? Are they using logical fallacies willfully or ignorantly? One who does not know the fallacies is at the mercy of the one who does. I'm back. It's been a few months since my last video. We moved from Southern California to North Carolina, 2,500 miles. I built out my study and studio. Then I got the coronavirus. Now I'm back and ready to hit the ground running, providing you with the best in critical thinking knowledge and skills. All of the videos we've built are interconnected and created upon the foundations we've laid before. So don't miss any previous installments. We've covered the system for critical thinking in our video titled The Lethal 8. We looked at the rules of logic, self-refuting claims. We covered the first 9 of the logical fallacies. Our last video, we looked at fallacies 10 through 15. Today, we'll cover the last of the fallacies, 16 through 23. Let's get started. Knowing the fallacies empowers you to see when someone makes a mistake in their thinking or argumentation. It authorizes you to explain not only that an argument is wrong, but what makes it wrong. You'll help people become better, make better arguments and decisions for yourself, and you won't be susceptible to those who abuse logic in their attempts to manipulate and control you or others. Intellectual virtue is just as much a virtue as moral virtues, and I would argue you can't have one without the other. Let's get into it. Fallacies of presumption. The premises presume what they hope to prove. Number 16, begging the question, also known as circular reasoning. This is easy to commit and difficult to detect. Leaving out a key premise, restating the conclusion as a premise, reasoning in a circle. For example, the painting is obviously garbage because it is worthless. That's circular reasoning. To argue that something is true or false based on the premise that it is true or false. You cannot start with a conclusion and end with the same conclusion. You must begin with premises that logically lead to a conclusion. Now, we hear begging the question often in our daily lives, but that understanding is much different than the fallacy of begging the question. Here's an example of defining begging the question differently, also known as misusing the term. I don't understand why a Jedi would use a lightsaber instead of a blaster. I mean, you have to be close to kill someone with a lightsaber, but you could shoot someone a mile away with a good blaster at your side. Which begs the question, does a Jedi want to kill or defend against attack?
We're keepers of the peace, not soldiers.
Begging the question does not mean raising the question. It does not mean the question is begging to be asked. It does not mean that the question should be asked. Begging the question means you are making a conclusion based upon an assumption that the argument is already true. You must demonstrate the argument to be true. Number 17, the complex question. Have you stopped cheating on exams? The assumption of guilt is built into the question itself. There can be multiple questions that are concealed as a single question. Another example, have you ever been caught stealing from the grocery store? Answer the question yes or no. Number one, if you answer no, you are admitting to stealing. Welcome to a deposition. Number two, the way the question is formed assumes there are only two answers and they both procure guilt from the defendant. Number 18, which is related, the false dichotomy. There may or may not be other alternatives, an either-or premise that hides additional alternatives. For example, either God is all loving and not powerful, or he would stop evil, or he is all powerful but not loving because evil exists. Could it be that there are reasons evil is allowed to exist? All we have to do is posit one possible alternative for God to allow evil, and the argument loses its strength, committing the false dichotomy fallacy. When my oldest son was 3 years old, he mastered the false dichotomy. We'd leave the house to go get groceries or to go to the park, and he would always ask, will we be going to Grandpa's and Grandma's on the way there or on the way back? Smart kid. Number 19, suppressed evidence, also known as cherry picking. The arguer ignores important evidence that requires a different conclusion. For example, my political candidate gives 10% of his income to the needy, goes to church every Sunday, and volunteers 1 day a week at a homeless shelter. Therefore, he is honest and morally upright. The suppressed evidence is that the same candidate gives 10% of his income to needy prostitutes in exchange for services, goes to the bar every Sunday after church and sometimes before, and only works at the homeless shelter to get clients for his drug-dealing business. The stronger the evidence against the arguer's position, the more severe the fallacy made. Fallacies of ambiguity. This is a problem of clarity, using the same word but giving it a different meaning. Number 20, equivocation. The conclusion depends on a shift in meaning of a word or phrase. Here's an example. I'm a nobody. Nobody's perfect. I'm perfect. What's wrong with this statement? The equivocation is being used on the definition of nobody. I'm a nobody in the sense of unimportant. Then the term nobody is given the definition of perfection, as in nobody is perfect, though that is not how we understand the phrase. To say nobody is perfect is to say perfection is unattainable, but this ambiguous meaning is then harnessed to say the opposite of what the phrase is understood to mean, taking it at a literal reading that nobody is indeed perfect. This leads to an erroneous conclusion, I'm perfect. I guess it's an improvement from I'm a nobody, but I don't think we're anywhere near reality in the way these fallacies added up to a falsity. Number 21, amphibole. This is an incorrect interpretation of an ambiguous statement. This often harnesses a double meaning of a word. Here's an example. Don't let worry kill you, let the church help. Does the church reduce worry, kill you, or they help you reduce worry by killing you? Fallacies of analogy. Number 22, composition. Think smaller to bigger. An attribute is wrongly transferred from parts to whole. For example, your car's alternator is dead, so the whole engine is defective. Just because one part is defective does not mean every other part is defective. Notice the difference between the hasty generalization fallacy and the fallacy of composition. Composition says one part is bad, so the whole thing is bad. Hasty generalization says one part is bad, So every individual part is bad. A hasty generalization is one case applied to every little case, whereas composition is one case applied to the complete whole. Number 23, division. Bigger to smaller. An attribute wrongly transferred from whole to parts. For example, overall, the food in our lunchroom is healthy, so the chocolate chip cookies that they serve must be healthy for me. Our next video is going to introduce you to the standards of evidence. I'm more excited about evidence than the fallacies of logic, and as our videos roll out, you'll see why. Thanks for joining me today, and good job at sticking with it. Keep your nose to the grindstone, lift people's heads out of the sand, keep distributing that red pill.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And remember, critical thinkers, think deeply.